not just a forest burning, this is almost a cemetery because all you can see is dead.
The biggest problem now facing the world is climate change.
Are you scared of the climate crisis? Are you scared that politicians don't do it? But don't you worry. The state of Mecklenburg Vorpommern in northern Germany has found the solution. They founded an environmental NGO for climate and environmental protection. With one of the aims of the NGO is to help build a gas pipeline, NordStream 2. And now you might think gas is still a fossil fuel, so why does an environmental NGO want to help build a pipeline? For that we have to go a few years back, so come on.
Still unfolding in Japan, where tonight nuclear officials there are warning of a possible nuclear reactor meltdown.
I'm currently on the island of Taiwan, and just over in that direction is Japan. And with that Fukushima. And with that the nuclear catastrophe which led Germany to phase out its nuclear energy. In the last years the climate crisis has also worsened. And one of the leading factors for that are coal power stations. Due to that, Germany is also supposed to phase out these. And with that there's a power vacuum. One which is supposed to be filled by renewable energy. But sometimes the wind is not as strong and the sun is not as strong, but the demand for electricity is high. There are several solutions for this problem. But first let's go to a different location. One of the solutions is to use gas power stations. They are fairly quick to turn on and off, and therefore they can bridge the gap between the fossil age and the renewable age, because if there's not a lot of sun, if there's not a lot of wind, we can run gas power stations, quickly turn them off, and when there's enough renewable energy, we can turn them back off again. And even Greenpeace said in 2010 that gas is the only fossil fuel that we still need. So it seems great, doesn't it? But Germany and many other European states do not really produce a lot of gas. So they're very reliant on gas imports, mainly from Russia, and mainly through pipelines. Mainly through Nord Stream 1 through the Baltic Sea and the Yamal Europe 2 through the other countries. So the Russian state company Gazprom wanted to increase their exports and wanted to build a second pipeline through the Baltic Sea. Also, most likely because they didn't really like the transit countries anymore so much, which are Poland and Ukraine. And as you know, they don't have the best relations right now. But not only the transit countries didn't really like the new pipeline, the United States was also not a fan. They want to sell their own fracking gas, but they also are worried about the EU being too reliant on gas imports from Russia. So they went and dropped sanctions on all the firms related to the build. So many firms hurried away and looked for other jobs elsewhere. And now you might think, well, but what does the NGO from the beginning have to do with all of that? So the state government funded a foundation called Umwelt- und Klimaschutzstiftung Mecklenburg Vorpommern. The name implying that it's supposed to protect the environment. However, one of the biggest things this foundation can do is to build and rent out stuff needed for the pipeline build to go on. It is mainly a trick to bypass the US sanctions and not an environmental NGO. A trick financed mostly by the Russian state-owned company Gazprom. So a German state government founded a foundation called Umwelt- und Klimaschutzstiftung Mecklenburg-Vorpommern to help build a pipeline mainly financed by a Russian state-owned company, Gazprom. Pretty spicy. Spicy, 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 woo! So they claim that Europe and especially Germany need that gas to bridge the gap between fossil fuels and renewable energy. That it's gonna be a bridge technology, and while in 2010 even Greenpeace said that gas is the only fossil fuel that we still need, since then a lot of new evidence has come out and the stance has changed. And furthermore, even in 2010 Greenpeace said that the gas which is supposed to be used as a bridge technology is not supposed to be new gas, but rather gas which we save through better home insulation. Even in 2010 they said we don't need new pipelines. And in there lays a bigger truth. The truth is that even right now, the gas pipelines that reach Germany are not used under full capacity. So there's really no need for new ones. And the scientist collection, Scientists for Future in Germany, conducted a study and I quote, "The planned expansion of natural gas infrastructure in Germany cannot be justified in terms of climate policy and entails enormous financial risk." And the German Institute for Economic Research stated that Nord Stream 2 was unnecessary in terms of energy, harmful to the environment, and economically unprofitable. These clear statements mainly come from three facts. Firstly, natural gas is not as clean as it's made out to be. While it is true that during the burning of natural gas, it only emits about half as much as coal, during the transportation and the extraction, there's a lot of methane going out into the environment, which is very, very harmful and increases climate change by quite a lot. And these methane leakages are often not included in the calculations, which weaken the impact that natural gas has on paper, but not in reality. The second point is that investment in gas infrastructure is a road to manifest fossil fuels in Europe. Gas investments are normally made for around 50 years, and by 2070 we have to get rid of all fossil fuels for long already. So investing in them now doesn't really make sense. And the third point is gas is not really needed. If we invest in it now, we have more makes it cheaper, and cheaper gas will make it more difficult for renewable energy to succeed. So we really shouldn't invest in it. So the science says it's bad for the environment and bad financially as well. So why does the state of Mecklenburg Vorpommern fund an environmental NGO? Well, Mecklenburg Vorpommern, as a former East German state, has still many people who are very fond of Russia and support the pipeline, especially with the United States sanctions. And another reason is that, as we just talked before, more gas means cheaper gas. Mecklenburg-Vorpommern has many people who do not have a lot of money and need gas for heating in the winter. But if the government would actually care about these people, they could implement a state-funded house insulation program, which would be good for the environment, reduce the heating bill of low-income housing, and would also raise their popularity, because this is what it is at the end. The pipeline is popular in the state of Mecklenburg-Vorpommern. So the state government supports the pipeline through the foundation and is willing to cement fossil fuels in Europe for the next 50 years against the wishes of the European Union, Poland, Ukraine, France and the United States, and against the better judgment of scientists, just to keep themselves in power for 5 more years. And at the same time they are arguing that it's good for the environment because the foundation can support climate stuff in the future after the pipeline is built. And that is a great idea. It's great to support the environment in a climate crisis. But we're talking about a state government, not a private actor. They don't need to fund the environmental foundation to do climate politics. They are the government. They can enact climate politics. So maybe try that instead of building a pipeline.